In this demo, we are going to add basic authentication to our webhook and configure the credentials in the Dialogflow console. So if we go back to the code editor and look at our main.py file, we see that right now it doesn't have any authentication methods in it. So we need to add those 3 authentication methods that will implement HTTP basic auth into this file. So now we have the requires auth method, which requires authentication to access the app. We have the check auth method, which validates the submitted username and password. And we've set the username and password here, and we'll use those later in the Dialogflow console. And then we have the authenticate method, which will return a 401 response if authentication fails. We've also added the requires auth decorator to the handle method. So now we can deploy this version of main.py within our webhook code. So we'll go back into the webhook subdirectory, and we will run gcloud app deploy again to redeploy the Dialogflow service with these authentication methods. So now we've deployed a new version of the Dialogflow service with the HTTP basic authentication enabled. So if we go back to our Dialogflow console and we try to test it out again, now we don't get a response. So the reason for that is that we haven't added in the username and password into the basic auth section of the webhook console. So we can add in those same credentials that we set in our webhook code. So we can set the username and the password, and we'll hit save in Dialogflow. And now we can try it again, and we get a response. So this has now completely authenticated the backend webhook of our Dialogflow agent with the username and password set.